This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast. It's Thursday, February the 17th. Coming up, Canadian women win gold over the U.S. women's hockey team, which according to some sports historians, could elevate them to being one of the greatest sports rivalries of all time.
Really?
Because it's always them. It's always a major game. It's always for gold. But who else would be in that category? Some of the top sports rivalries of all time coming up this morning. The Academy Awards. We're listening to the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast when we railed against them for not picking anything for Spider-Man. And so they've relented under the power of Charity Brown. Kind of.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that coming up later on this morning. But right off the top, watch out for the weather, everybody, because it could get kind of crazy in the next 24 hours.
It was beautiful yesterday. I don't know if you enjoyed yesterday at all. Temperature-wise, it felt very much like spring. Mm-hmm. And then I did go for a walk, and as I was like, it feels like April.
Yeah,
but we're not there yet. And then with the showers, it kind of felt like April again today. But winter is coming back with a vengeance overnight. We have a snowfall warning in effect. So we melt everything. And buses were canceled today because, as I mentioned this morning, I live on a secondary road, so it's not paved. And it was ice. It was just glare ice this morning. So the secondary roads, the side roads this morning were just a mess. And with snow coming again tonight, I have a feeling the kids might be off again tomorrow.
Could be. 25 centimeters of snow. That could be on top of some... I'm going to call it ice pellets. I don't want to call it freezing rain.
Yeah.
Ice pellets that are also expected in some areas, if not, here in Belleville itself, spots around the Quinte region. So, yeah, you may leave Belleville. It's like, okay, it's not bad. Then you go into the county, or you pop over to Trenton, or you head up north.
Head over the hills
go
and
to Sterling or something, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I wish I'd known about that.
Yeah.
Well, then you should listen to the podcast.
Well, and it created a bit of an interesting conversation between you and I throughout the morning as well. I don't even think I was in my seat. And you're like, okay, we need to have a serious conversation. Are you awake? Are you ready for this? And I get nervous because
when I start a day like that.
What's happening? What's going on?
Because I plan to have tomorrow off for the longest time.
Plan to have a day off since September.
And every time
things keep happening.
I schedule it, and then I got to cancel it. And then when you were working from home, I can't take time off because
the
you're
pandemic,
working from home and all that stuff.
Rescheduling appointments, trips that you had planned. It just seems to, and now the weather.
So I said Friday, February 18th. And then I come in this morning, and tomorrow is just going to be Armageddon. It's just massive chaos. So I said, seriously, I don't think you should drive in. So tune in tomorrow morning if for no reason.
You've chipped away a little bit at me this morning.
Who's going to sit in this chair, whether it's me or whether it's Charity?
Because at first I was adamant, but that 25 centimeters of snow does have me a little.
I don't know why you get so adamant and fight
We will
with me.
see. We will see what tomorrow brings.
So if you are tired this morning because you stayed up to watch the Canadian women.
Good for you.
Yes. In this time where some people are more Canadian than others, we are dividing the lines about how Canadian we are. Can we not all agree that the women's hockey team did us proud?
See, and they keep talking about taking it away. Why would you take it away? Why would you not have this included in the Winter Olympics when it is so amazing to the point where I was waking myself up in the night? I was so concerned that we were going to lose. Because you don't want to jinx it.
Yeah. To be fair, nobody is saying take it away. One person had an opinion piece. So the Olympics are not ever going to take it away.
I shouldn't generalize. But it is a conversation that has happened before.
Yeah.
It's not a new conversation. But when you have such a following, and it is exciting. It's exciting to watch. People like it. People love it.
The quote-unquote argument is because it's Canada and the United States all the time. What's the point of doing it because it's so dominant? And that's ridiculous because you want to grow the sport.
Yeah.
That's like saying, you know what? We need to get rid of cross-country skiing because nobody can beat Norway. Like, nobody says that, right?
And then they go the other way. So really, you can.
Yeah. Biathlon. Poor wrong
anyway.
way. But, so that's not the right argument to have. There's no way the other countries get better by
if there
eliminating
weren't
it.
Enough competitors, maybe, perhaps, like if it was just me. Exactly. That's my point. That would be a better argument than saying, well, you're just too good. It's not fair. It's not. Well, no, it raises the bar for other teams to get to. People see that and they're like, that's what I could do if I work really hard. And that's what I want to do by working really hard.
And I know that the exception sometimes justifies the rule, or however that goes in my head right now. But, Eddie the Eagle, for example, was for people, all right, that's the Olympic spirit. Yeah. The Jamaican bobsled team.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody expected them to win, but gosh darn it, they get to. So, no, you're probably not going to beat the Canadian or the American women in hockey.
But look where you are.
Somebody will.
Exactly.
And that justifies why you keep doing it and why you inspire them to be better.
Not for a long time. But yes, one day.
But you take a look at Brian Orser. Brian Orser is a figure skating coach for a Korean skater. Mm-hmm. So when the Canadian and American women graduate out of the program as players, begin to coach, they're going to be coaching in China. They're going to be coaching in Germany.
We've seen it already. We've seen them doing other things within the hockey world. They're going to bring this greatness that they learned in the Olympics and bring the Olympic spirit to other countries and elevate their game. And
it's not fair. They should get rid of it because they're too dominant. You missed the point.
Marie-Philippe Poulin is going to be one of those women. Yeah. Because she has she has scored a goal in every gold medal game she's been in. She's been in 4. Mm-hmm. And the Canadian women's hockey team. So it was implemented. So this is the 7th Winter Olympics that women's hockey has been involved, and we have won 5 of them.
We won 5.
We've won 5.
So the drought is over because we didn't 2014.
we didn't win in 2018.
We didn't win the last
2018,
one.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh.
We didn't win the gold.
Never win again.
But
where would you rank the U.S. and Canadian women's hockey team among the great rivalries of sport?
Because it has been the U.S. and Canada. Yes, it has.
Just been them. So an article came out this morning that says we are willing to raise them to the pantheon of great rivalries amongst these following. So in the National Football League, the greatest rivalry, according to this article, is the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, because they have been 2 of the longest organizations run in the NFL, and they're in the same division. So they played like 130 times. Throughout.
So when they meet, it's kind of like, all out there.
If you're 100 years old and you live in Wisconsin or Green Bay, all of you know in your whole life is that you hate the Chicago Bears. So that's what makes a great rivalry.
And that kind of plays into the baseball teams that I called. Because you called me out on it. They're like, I'm on Smarty Pants. Because I thought they were the first 2 teams to come to mind because of the history.
Yep.
New York and Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. The Yankees and Red Sox. Yep. They're the best rivalry in Major League Baseball. In the NBA, it's Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers because that's a long time one. Right now, people say, oh, I don't know, wait a minute, it's wherever LeBron goes and then wherever LeBron came from. That's like
those 2 teams.
And Cleveland and the Lakers, shouldn't it be? Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, amongst boxers. Greatest rivalry in boxing. FC Barcelona and Real Madrid in Spanish soccer.
I think soccer fans would agree with that.
Crazy. If you were to go over and land in an airport and pick one or the other, it's like going to Alabama and being Alabama or Auburn. There's a sports store in Alabama, a friend of mine told me about, where the indoor is Alabama. It's 2 doors. Mm-hmm. One of them is Alabama and the other's got the Auburn logo.
So you go with which one?
And some people will only go in one door and not the other. They won't even touch the other door.
Well, it's superstition, right?
That's right.
It plays into it too.
In the NHL, Boston and Montreal, not Montreal and Toronto.
I would have said Montreal and Toronto. I knew it was one of the original teams, but I thought, and being in Ontario, I guess maybe that to me is more of a rivalry because every year it's that first game between Toronto and Montreal. Yep. Everybody wants to see Toronto and Montreal play.
But there was that 20 or 25-year gap, we'll call it the Harold Ballard years, where Toronto was a non-starter in the playoffs and Montreal and Boston were fighting it out for cups. So that's what they were like. The lights were brighter in April and May, and there's Boston and Montreal again. So that's why they included that one. India and Pakistan is the greatest rivalry in cricket.
I'll take your word on that one.
India and Pakistan. In tennis, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal.
Yes.
That's the thing about tennis, of course, is that you're never going to meet in week 1 because of the seeding. If Rafael Nadal meets Roger Federer, it's a semi or a final. Again, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Novak Djokovic, it's going to be great. John McEnroe and Ivan Lendl, like I remember all these. Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras.
Yes.
And obviously Serena Williams and Venus.
Yeah.
And so many others, right? So tennis naturally leads itself to rivalries because they will only meet if it's great. And that's why when I looked in there, I didn't see Tiger and Phil Mickelson in golf because that has been a rivalry,
is that a rivalry?
For so long. I guess if you have to ask them, maybe it isn't.
Because
maybe I'm trying to include too many now.
Because are they both still golfing?
Well, Phil's on the senior tour. Phil's 51.
So
Tiger's, of course, injured.
That's my question. Was he still golfing when Tiger?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
for
there
20
was...
years.
Okay.
It was the two of them, 1 and 2 in the world.
I didn't know how old
long
Phil
time.
is.
I mean, Jack and Arnold, too, right? Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer were, but that wasn't
I would think you'd have to
super
play
long.
at the same time, and there would have to be that.
But they were. But you're right, because they
Neck
don't
and
always.
neck.
In a golf field, you're not really head to head like you are when the Yankees play the Red Sox. They're the only two on the field. Mm-hmm. You know, when the Packers are playing the Bears, that's the only two on the golf.
Yeah.
You got
Are they
144
so far
guys.
ahead of everybody else that the two of them would be the only two, maybe not on the course together at the same
Right.
time, but in the lead?
Yeah,
would it
you're
be
right.
the two of them going back and forth between the...
But I mean, you know, when the majors are on, those are the two guys you're watching for. But you're right, doesn't mean they're always going to win. So I guess the rivalry has to be, it is completely on them. So that's a good point, because in tennis, that'd be the case. In Premier League soccer, Manchester United and Liverpool. And then in 90s wrestling, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. They did not like each other.
Which you told me. See, when you brought up wrestling, like pro wrestling or entertaining wrestling, we'll say, wrestling in the entertainment world, I always go to Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Because growing up, that always seemed the big rivalry. But you said even out of the ring, these two did not like each other.
But I think that's the point. I think we figured out by now that was entertainment wrestling.
That was
so
entertainment
the rivalry
wrestling.
was also for the entertainment. These two guys hated each other.
Okay.
This was legit.
They
was
wanted
dislike.
to beat each other.
Yeah, there was
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, genuinely. There was no script there. There was genuine dislike.
They wanted to win.
The two of them.
Okay.
And speaking of them, that's the love-hate relationship I've had with Hollywood in the Academy
Oh
Awards.
my goodness.
And
I don't think you're alone.
And it came to a head a couple of years ago again when Shape of Water won the Academy Award as the Best Picture.
Still want to see that. That was on my list to see.
Really? Okay.
Because I remember that.
Yeah.
It won all the awards.
Yeah.
And it was touted as this, a lot of people hadn't seen it. It was different. And it was this
my
wonderfully
point is
incredible movie that everybody should see.
Yeah, my wife watched it, who is, is very broad-minded and said it was the biggest hunk of junk she'd ever seen. How did that win? And it starts following on lists of these movies that get released on New Year's Eve, so they qualify. You never see them at the theater, but they win all the awards. It's like, so there you go again. The cool kids have decided what's cool, and they don't care how much we go watch them. So then why are you surprised we don't watch your Academy Awards show? Why are you surprised we don't like a lot of the
movies
stuff
we
that's
haven't
signed up?
heard of, we haven't seen, we know nothing about.
So
and
step one in rectifying it came out after our podcast the other day.
Woohoo! Give ourselves a pat on the back. So now the Oscars have announced, or the Academy Awards have announced, that they are going to allow fans to vote via Twitter using the hashtag OscarsFanFavorite. Now I say vote. They're basically saying what movies they loved in 2021. So it's not really a vote. You're just stating what movie you like, and based on that, they're going to pick 3 winners, and it's an all-inclusive trip for 2, the winner and a guest, to LA next year for the Oscars, where they will be able to get up on stage and hand out an award.
Right. And then it's a prize. So somehow they're going to get up there and they're going to say, Spider-Man, No Way Home. Mm-hmm. And then what's going to happen?
They're not even going to be able to say, well, they say that on Twitter. They don't say that on stage. They're going to give the award.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
How are they going to hand this out? So is the crowd at the Academy Awards, they're all going to roll the eyes.
And they're going to...
I guess we have to let the fans have something.
The ticker on the bottom will say, winner of fan favorite online, blah, blah, blah.
Spider-Man
Much like the Academy member who brings they come out and they say their little spiel and they're like, these have been counted by the Academy, blah, 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 we want to thank.
Right. Do you think they'll even give it that much, or whether it'll just be handed out in the afternoon, like best hair design? Oh, by the way, the movie that everybody on the planet
we handed
agrees.
them out. Part of the awards we handed out last night. Here's so-and-so who won, and Yep.
But thanks again for the $2 billion that fund all of these other movies that didn't make money so we can hand out awards to them and our friends.
Aren't we positive this morning?
It just makes me crazy. It does. It makes me crazy.
It really does. And you pointed it out this morning. You go back 20 years. So when Titanic was the big winner.
There was a time.
Because I remember that year. It won movie, director, I think Leo might not have won, but Kate Winslet. Like, the actors were nominated. The best song, Celine Dion. Like, costumes, everything. Like, it ran the gamut. Like, it won so many awards that year. And you knew it was going to win because it was a big movie.
Right.
Big at
We
the
knew.
box
You
office.
could guess.
Big with everybody had seen it. It was a good movie.
Yep.
It was well done. James Cameron, it was just a good movie. You knew it was going to win. 3/4 of the films nominated this year.
Don't even know.
Don't even know.
Don't
Haven't
even
seen.
know. Don't even know who's in them.
Probably
Don't know
won't
the plot.
see.
Yeah.
Have no idea.
There was
it
a
was
time-
fun at that stage. It was fun to see them win because
Mm-hmm.
you knew and you had seen it and you were invested in it. These movies, no.
There was a time where
No.
if Tom Hanks released a movie
Mm-hmm.
and Meryl Streep released a movie, they'd be nominated. And the talk would be if they weren't. Now, I expect they won't be. I don't expect anybody with a name and a notable performance like Jennifer Hudson in Respect as Aretha Franklin is going to get nominated.
Well, and I mentioned Clint
Bradley Cooper, not nominated.
Eastwood.
Not
had a
nominated.
movie out last year.
Yeah.
Maybe not his greatest, but it's Clint Eastwood.
Right.
Wrote and directed it.
He
The man
doesn't
is
do junk.
99 years old.
And he's great.
And he's still doing this. Does that not deserve some sort of nod? And people saw the movie. Crying Macho.
Yeah.
People saw that. They know that it's a Clint Eastwood movie. They know that movie. Why was it not mentioned? And as we keep going back to Spider-Man No Way Home,
Yep.
biggest movie of the year worldwide. And it's still bringing in
People
movie. It knocked
loved
out,
it.
what
It
did I
wasn't
say
a
yesterday?
junky movie.
No, it knocked out Avatar as the third highest grossing film of all time.
That won Academy Awards.
And it is not, I wouldn't say it's based on a Marvel character, and it's a Marvel movie. No, but it's not a comic book movie. It's not a kids movie. It is a good movie that you go and you enjoy.
But there was a time, Toy Story was up for Movie of the Year.
Yeah.
You know, so they've just received.
Disney put out how many animated movies for how many years in a row that were amazing, were great, and were nominated.
Yep. Lion King, all this stuff.
Beauty and the Beast,
but they're
huge movie.
They're just getting to the point where they want to become irrelevant, and and in a pandemic, when we can decide what it is that we want to spend our time and our attention on, when we come out of it, if this is the way you are, you're irrelevant. Fine.
It is.
We're going to make fun of you with these movies that you claim are the great ones. We're going to go watch the ones we like,
Exactly.
and then you can have these little arty farty ones
Yeah.
that you think are so great with your friends. But stop pretending that we care when you do that. We'll just watch the ones we want.
And it's a shame because I remember the glitz and the glamour of the Oscars.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal would host it.
Yeah.
You would stay up. You'd watch it because it was fun. And again, you knew what you were going to get. You
saw
knew the
all
movies.
5 of the movies.
You wanted to see
and
the
you
movies.
cheered for your favorite.
Exactly. The actors and actresses you knew. It's the glitz, the glam, the celebration, really. It was fun. And it just doesn't have that feel anymore.
No, it's hooey out of California.
It really is.
But go on Twitter and
But if
your
you want to
thoughts.
maybe win a
Yeah.
trip for 2 to LA next year,
yeah.
all you have to do is say you like a movie and then you could win.
Coming up on the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast tomorrow, we're going to introduce you to Graydon Molinaire of
Local
Belleville.
guy. Yeah.
He
Home
cooks
cook.
food at home for his family. So then how did he end up on the Food Network? It's a fun little journey.
Yeah,
Let's
little
going to tell
local
you about
connection.
that coming up tomorrow. It's the Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast. Here wherever you get your favorite podcasts, including Amazon Music. Now up there. It's loaded up by 11 o'clock each day out of 95.5 Hits FM in Belleville. Enjoy your Thursday.